is balanced scoring. You got to have multiple guys, especially since you're not going to have Harrelson today.
And lineup changes for both. Logan Imes gets a start for Notre Dame, and making his first career start, the man with the basketball right now, the freshman out of Atlanta, Eric Chatfield Jr. I think that's the first shot that I've seen Kowacie Reeves miss in the last 24 hours. Yesterday at practice, I've never seen a guy have a shooting practice like he did.
And he's come in locked and loaded. And one of the things for Georgia Tech is that they don't make a lot of threes, but they shoot it at a high clip.
Dongo, the man to keep an eye on. Double-double machine. Mustafa's a guy they really have high hopes for. Young player. Way downtown, and a second straight miss for Reeves.
Notre Dame starting out in that zone. Georgia Tech has got to prove that they can break the paint. You don't want to have to be limited to shooting threes all afternoon.
Imes handling the basketball. We mentioned getting to start his first since the middle of January. It's his sixth start overall this year. But no Harrelson, if you're just joining us. Injured his ankle in practice yesterday. Shot clock at 5. Kohler to the rack, kicks it out, gotta let it go. Great box out right there by Ndongo. Isolation play for him, and a reach-in foul will go against Brady Kohler. So you look at the lineup, we mentioned Chatfield starting and Imes in there for Harrelson.
I think that you have to see how each team going to establish something offensively. For Georgia Tech in that zone, you got to get Dongo going, because if you can get him going inside, that'll open up that three ball. And for Notre Dame, we talked about the fact no Harrelson. You see that move by Kowacie Reeves. That's one of those things. I think that that's a matchup that he can win, because the perimeter guys can't stop him from getting to the paint.
He's their leading scorer at 15 points per game. That guy right there with the ball, he's got to have a big game today, and he's more than capable. Cole Certa had 34 against Virginia. What a screen by Kohler. And Shrewsberry able to shoot Reeves, draws a foul, and he'll head for the free throw line.
A nice move by Shrewsberry when he was able to get there. And then watch this play. He comes off the pick and roll. Now, again, more of a pro move. He's able to get Reeves, and watch right there. Reeves bites on the pump fake. He's able to take that contact, and now it gives him an opportunity to go to line for two.
Braeden, of course, the coach's son, junior from Granger, Indiana. For the last 2 games, he has hit 9 3-pointers. If he gets hot along with Certa, look out.
Here's the thing, too, with both teams, only 2 conference wins. A lot of it is the league is so much better, and it's hard for teams that you see Chatfield having a little struggle right there with Imes pushing up on the ball.
Taylor out defending 40 feet from the bucket. Here's Reeves again. And he's off the mark. 1 of 4. He's the only Yellow Jacket to shoot so far in the game. And here's Shrewsberry. Bang!
And that's one of the things that Braeden Shrewsberry does a great job of, is catching that 3 in rhythm. And that's one of the things. If you allow a guy like that to get the bucket to go, it's going to be a long afternoon for Georgia Tech and defensive.
Dongo brought it back down. Nice feed underneath to Reeves, and he's able to spin it through the hoop.
Again, when you get the ball inside to Dongo, good things are going to happen. That last time, Reeves was able to get behind the back of that defense. It's another bucket to go.
Well, when Notre Dame sets a screen, man, they set a screen.
The tout is a grown man out there. It's a brick wall you try to fight back.
Is he ever? 33 wearing the headband for those of you that have not seen Notre Dame play. Transfer from Northern Arizona University, one of the great rebounders in the country. And at the shot clock, off the mark, Taylor the rebound. Imes for 3, and it spins around and drops in.
Good defense by Georgia Tech, but you cannot give up those rebounds. Best time to shoot a 3 is on that offensive rebound. Get out and you get Imes on the board today.
8-4 Notre Dame, playing without their top 2 players when you also add in Marcus Burton, who has been out since the month of December.
See, Notre Dame gets this back, and then Imes gets an opportunity to saddle up and get those on. He's like, yes, I needed that one today. And again, we talked about for a team that is trying to find offense from Harrelson, it's going to have to be done by committee. And the offensive rebound is going to be something that Coach Damon Stoudemire talked to you and I about yesterday, is that they got to finish out defensive possessions, and they cannot give Notre Dame opportunities to get other baskets, and they have to lock up those defensive possessions.
Cowder's had a really nice career. He has scored over 1,300 points, has over 1,300 rebounds. Kaler off the mark, and there's a long board. Kelly checks into the game for Georgia Tech. Not sure that's a shot they're looking for.
And I'm sure if you're Notre Dame that you'll take that three out there by Dongo, because, again, he's going to do most of his damage inside the paint.
Here's Certa. And able to get off the shot, but Ndongo rips away the rebound.
And good defense by Fleming. That allows Certa to be able to get downhill. You mentioned earlier they need him to get going.
Here's Mustaf, and they're looking for big things out of this young man.
And that was one of the things also that Stoudemire mentioned. He said, hey, he's one of those guys I feel like that he could give us a big afternoon. You saw right there, being able to rip by and get right down to the cup.
I mean, he's had nice games this year. He had 16 against Virginia Tech, 11 against Duke, and that's the first bucket for the sophomore out of Illinois, Cole Certa.
Yeah, Certa's one of those. He's got a lot in his bag. He can put the ball on the floor. You saw a good little runner right there. It's something that Notre Dame's going to really need.
That's a nice pass by Ndongo, and it leads to a lay-in by Reeves.
Yeah, big man with the cross-court pass.
Yeah, bounce pass.
Yeah, bounce pass, and then you see Kowacie Reeves has come out understanding that he's going to be offensive-minded and look for his shot today.
Shrewsberry, boy, wide open under there for a moment was Tout. Kaler along the baseline, and Ndongo another rebound. Irish lead by 2, and there's that cross-court bounce pass again, and I think he threw it out of bounds.
And then you've seen Georgia Tech. They've had times where they have had wins. They went up and had an impressive win at North Carolina State.
No doubt.
And so right now, as you come to the gut of this season, this last 6 games, all you want to do is get into the ACC tournament.
I mean, look, you never know what'll happen. And case in point was NC State just 2 years ago. But you can't win it if you ain't in it.
That's true, and both teams have been decimated by injuries as well.
Yes.
And it's been hard for them, but I think that right now when you look at it, they still got guys that can fill it up. You saw that would not go down by Braeden Shrewsberry.
And Ndongo already with 4 rebounds in the game. Kelly going to the rack. And that's a jump ball. Possession hour gives it to Notre Dame.
A great transition defense by Notre Dame as you get back. Shrewsberry did a good job at tying up that ball. Watch the play, and you see Chaz Cali come in. And one of the things is to defend without fouling. You see Shrewsberry able to get his hands in there, forces that jump ball.
Full court pressure for Georgia Tech, checking in for the first time today. Seen a lot of playing time this year. The transfer from Pacific, Lamar Washington.
But I think that if you're Damon Stoudemire, what you want is you want guys who are going to help impact the game on the defensive end. This Georgia Tech team understands is that they have to turn up the intensity. You want to make Notre Dame uncomfortable. Notre Dame is one of those teams that they're going to run their sets. You're going to have to guard for the majority of the shot clock.
Foul away from the ball. I think they're going to get Kelly holding Shrewsberry. Yep. Checking into the game for the first time. And this is a guy you and I were talking about. We talked with Coach Shrewsberry about today. There are games. You watch Sir Muhammad, his most recent game against SMU. Well, he's got a chance to be a really good player.
He does, because he has a good skill set where he can do a little bit of everything on both ends of the floor. You see the penetration and the kick out. Good closeout by Kowacie Reeves. But back to Muhammad. He's one of those guys who can give them a huge shot in the arm.
Reeves, good bounce pass. And Ndongo brought it down low, somehow able to get it away, but he threw it away.
And one of those things, again, that's always plagued this Georgia Tech team, and the turnovers. Notre Dame doing a good job of closing down that lane, not allowing Ndongo to get downhill.
You know, for both these teams, they started the non-conference part of their schedules at 9-4. They got off to good starts. for Georgia Tech. Losses against Georgia, Mississippi State, and DePaul. And losses, tight one against Ohio State, Kansas, and Houston for Notre Dame. They did get big wins against TCU's got a nice team, and beat Missouri. But then the injuries started to pile up for both. Georgia Tech's only had 2 players to play in every ACC game. And you know about Burton. He's among the best players in the country. Here's Certa, look out.
Good penetration by Imes, who's able to force 2 guys to converge to get over to Cole Certa. And we talked about Certa's one of those dudes, man. If you allow him to get going, he'll start launching them from the hash line, especially over there, and get him going early.
And Dongo with an offensive rebound. Head fake, goes up and draws a foul against Garrett Sundra.
We talked about the fact that Certa, watch this penetration by Imes, forces the help. Certa's able to tee that bad boy up and gets it going. Now on the other end, Dongo's going to thrive. He's going to put a lot of pressure on Notre Dame this afternoon with offensive glass. You want to get him going because, again, establishing Dongo down low will allow those threes to start coming for Georgia Tech.
And Dongo a 70% free throw shooter. And a nice touch. Watch his contestants spell their way to glory or disaster. Catch an all-new episode of Scrabble hosted by Craig Ferguson this Thursday, 8 Eastern, 7 Central, right here on the CW.
You and I talked about the Scrabble thing. I told my wife, I'm going to get her on that Scrabble game because...
You are?
Yeah, because I told you, in our house, we play English and Italian. And, you know, my Italian's pretty good, Tom, but she comes up with some games with some words. I don't know how
or do they even exist?
I don't even know if they exist, man. But you know what? She's adamant. So,
but she is from Italy.
Yep, absolutely.
Right. Shrewsberry, great head fake. Surprised he passed up the open shot and then got out of whack there.
I thought that he had the first one, and then when he tried to force that up, I think they're arguing that Kowacie Reeves may have touched the ball, and that is going to be Notre Dame ball. Here's the thing, is that for Notre Dame, you don't have Harrelson. You're going to need one of those afternoons by Shrewsberry and also Certa, where you're going to want them to get at least 15 attempts up to give them opportunity to be able to win this game.
And early on, you have Shrewsberry with 4. You have Certa with 4 attempts and racing the other. Great bounce pass. I thought that thing had a chance to be caught by Kelly.
Yeah, I thought Reeves wasn't really that much under control. May have got bumped early.
Well, I thought that looked pretty good.
Watch this. He didn't really have real control of the ball. I don't know that if Certa got his hand on it the first time and then basically Washington couldn't corral it. But if you're Georgia Tech, you want to make sure that you take care of the basketball because the last thing you want to do is have high turnovers early.
13-10, Notre Dame closing in on 8 minutes gone. And here's Shrewsberry again, and he hits his second 3. He has 8 points so far.
And if you're Dongo, scout report tells you can't allow him to walk into a wide open 3 like that. You got to be able to hedge and not allow him to get that easy look.
Back-to-back fouls with Ndongo, drawing them from Sundra, so he has 2 quick fouls, and there's a timeout on the floor.
We talked about both teams need big. One of the things that they do is that they're 6th in the ACC, shooting around 35%, 10th in makes at only 8.5. Already to a really good start this afternoon.
Had a good start at the line for Ndongo, the junior, originally from Senegal. He played high school basketball in Connecticut. Had 13 double-doubles last year. He has 4 this year, but in fairness, he's had 6 games where he was 1 rebound short.
Yeah, I mean, and Dongo's one of those guys, athletic, put the ball on the floor, active around the rim. I really think that establishing him early will really get this Georgia Tech offense going because they've got shot makers. But I think that they have to take advantage of opportunities when they can get the ball to Dongo and let him cook.
Sir Muhammad did not start. He's in the game right now. Logan Imes got the start for the injured Jalen Harrelson, who averages 16 a game. And picked right there. A great body by Washington.
And that's one of the reasons why Washington is in the game with him. He's a little bit of a pit bull as far as on the ball. You see Damon Stoudemire over there telling him that, hey, I want you to get up on him.
Ryder Frost, a freshman out of Beverly, Massachusetts, checks in for Notre Dame. Shrewsberry has been the man so far, and Certa. There's Certa with the ball. Picks up his dribble in the lane. Muhammad, little floater. And not there. You talked about Washington sticking his nose right in there, getting a rebound, and draws a foul against Muhammad.
Well, you and I both talked about the fact that at this point in the season, both teams are desperate for a win. And if you're a coach, you want a guy that's going to be out there that's going to help kind of generate some type of offense for you. In Washington, you see coming out, trying to get the defense going, and then you see over conversation with Micah Shrewsberry and Sir Muhammad trying to get him to calm down a little bit.
Yeah, Washington coming off a game against Wake Forest where in 18 minutes he did not score, and he has not scored, in fact, the last 4 games, and headed to the free throw line, unable to get it to fall right there. Braeden Shrewsberry will go to the line for 2.
And great recognition out of that point, out of that pick and roll. Washington, Dongo gets the ball, and then back cut by Shrewsberry. Couldn't get that one to quite go, but then for Georgia Tech, already they've got 8 points in the paint. And you can look at what they've been able to do early. They have not gotten that 3 ball to go, but Shrewsberry is another one of those guys you want to get him going.
Tuesday, WWE NXT, the North American Championship on the line. Longtime champion Ethan Page against newcomer Shiloh Hill. Will the veteran retain or the rookie pull off the upset? NXT Tuesday, 8 Eastern, 7 Central, right here only on the CW. Both free throws are good by Shrewsberry, who has 4 in the game. And we're even at 16 on the 6-0 run by Tech.
The big man Tout bringing the rock up. Say, I got guard skills.
Tout is a warrior on the glass. Ooh, they left Certa all alone, and he couldn't finish.
Yeah, he hesitated the first. I thought that he had the first opportunity. I was surprised he was wide open. Transition defense also by Notre Dame.
Off the fingertips of Ndongo, and Tout leading the break. Certa was thinking about it. Here's Frost from downtown. In and out. Boy, Ndongo, a rebounding machine. He has 7 of those already in the game. Cam Kraft, a transfer from Miami of Ohio. Boy, how about that story up in Oxford, Ohio? Watched a little of their game last night. The leading scoring team in the country. They average almost 90 a game.
Man, talk about a team that gets up and down where they put a lot of pressure, and they can flat out shoot it and score the rock.
We were talking with Bonzi Wells. He's a Mid-American Conference guy with the Ball State. Talking to him before the game today. He watched that Miami game last night. He could not believe how well they play together and how many guys they have that can really shoot. We'll see where it all goes.
That's one of the teams that when you get into the NCAA tournament can shock some people because of the pace that they play with. You see Shrewsberry was able to get one going. And again, Tom, that's the guy that I think that for Notre Dame has got to be the one that carries them. He's come out a bit ultra aggressive already, got 10 points.
Got 11, or was that a 2? That was a 3, so he's got 11 now. 3 3-pointers and a couple of free throws in the game. From downtown, that is not the game of Kelly. Rebound by Kraft. Although Kelly has been better this year from 3. And Dongo, beautiful left-handed kiss off the glass.
And I think that's where Georgia Tech has got to make a more concerted effort to get the ball to Dongo down low. Frost is not going to be able to stop him. If they keep them on the perimeter, it's going to be hard for Georgia Tech to get those threes to go.
And Certa finally gets a roll.
Yeah, I like the fact that with the open offense, you saw Certa get there and touch the paint. He was able to kind of get away from his defender.
Certa has 7 in the game. Shrewsberry with 11. So they have 18 of Notre Dame's 21 points most of our games. And when we win, they look one way. When we lose, they look the other way.
Well, and they've done a good job of playing good defense and then getting the rebound. I think that on the other end is that now you see Kowacie Reeves back and he gives you a threat. But where do they go now that you've got Dongo out of the game with this small lineup?
Eric Chatfield Jr. is checked back into the game. That's Reeves out on the wing, and Washington trying to use that athleticism and It's going to go against Kaler, and that's his second.
And he's a pit bull because you look at this lineup that Georgia Tech virtually almost got 5 guards out there, and then you cannot continue to play on that perimeter. You got to have somebody who's going to put their head down and try to break that zone. So Washington try to do that.
Kraft for 3 off the mark. Good box out there by Logan Imes, who got the start today, first since mid-January. And Imes trying to muscle his way in and can't get it. Follow once, twice, got it.
But here's the thing is that for Notre Dame, there's no shot blocking on the floor for Georgia Tech. You want to put the ball on the floor and you want to go and get downhill, break that rim. You see Imes had 2 opportunities for that putback.
As soon as you said that, and Njongo jumps off the bench, but now they call him back. And Kai Fleming's going to come back in. Reeves, he's off to a nice start in this one.
And that's the guy for Georgia Tech also, is that there's no one on Notre Dame's team that can stop him one-on-one. You want to clear out, allow him to be able to get downhill. And you see right now, he's got a pretty good first half going for him.
Sure does. He has 8 points for the Yellow Jackets. 3-point lead for Notre Dame. 7:27 left. Certa. That guy can absolutely light it up.
And you know, it doesn't take much time for him to get it up. And we saw him. He had a career-high 34 points in that loss to Virginia. Right now, another turn up.
And Certa, over the last 5 games, is behind the arc. 0 for 7 for Georgia Tech. And turnovers a huge part of the game. Georgia Tech's turned it over 8 times. And ND only once, and there's a home bounce right there.
If you're Georgia Tech, how do you come out of the timeout and you leave Cole Certa wide open? And again, we talk about this is the dude that's got the neon light. If he gets a couple of go that last time, he doesn't care if he's 1-on-5. He's going to let that baby fly.
No doubt about it. Give it off to Njongo. Swings it across court as he's done. And Fleming to the rack. There was contact there. No foul. Fight for the rebound, and a big fella comes away. His second field goal.
A nice battle by Njongo. And so for Notre Dame, what they're doing, they're sending another guy. And so Njongo gets that ball out of his hand, and Georgia Tech right now living in that paint.
Kaler wide open, and the southpaw drains it.
Big fella's like, I got guard skills. Give me the rock, and I'm going to create for you.
6'10" freshman from Fishers, Indiana. And another miss from three-point land. Boy, that's a difference in this game. 8 3-pointers for Notre Dame, none for Georgia Tech. Backdoor cut. Beautiful feed from Shrewsberry, and Tout his first basket.
Well, Tout is saying, you know what? He's going to play intense. He's going to do little things. You know, normally he's going to rebound. He's going to set screens. That last time Notre Dame was having a problem bringing the ball up, he's like, you know what? I'll bring it up. Why is Georgia Tech converging on him? I'm not sure. But he's one of those guys that's definitely been a huge playmaker for them this afternoon.
Georgia Tech needing a basket badly. Shot clock down to 7. Muskov will cut it loose. First 3 of the game for the Ramblin' Wreck.
Man, nice bucket by Muskov. He realized that Notre Dame was doing a good job of closing off the gaps. Decides to pull up for that. He's one of those guys, again, that can give you points in bunches.
It makes it a 9-point game. Notre Dame in front. Shot clock down to 10. Looking for Tout to make the cut to the basket there, and it never happened.
Oh, Kelly missed. Njongo had a little bit of a mismatch over there.
Reeves will try. Spun out of there, and last touch by Njongo. Notre Dame ball.
A transition opportunity. You had Njongo wide open against Imes on it. You got to recognize when you've got mismatches like that, you got to get the big fella to the rock, especially when he runs the floor.
Fighting Irish with the ball. Under 5 to go here in the opening half from South Bend, Indiana. Shrewsberry's had a big half. He has 11. Certa leading the way with 13. Shot clock at 5.
Yeah, active hands by Njongo. You see Shrewsberry is asking for another screen. I think there were 5 seconds left to go. You're Georgia Tech. Any type of screen action, you've got to try to double team. You don't want to allow Certa or
Well, you just said that, and he had a pretty good look.
I held my breath because I thought he was going to get one up.
Gustav has 7 for Georgia Tech. And Dongo leads the way along with Reeves, each with 8. And Dongo tries to add to it and gets a favorable roll. So a quick 4-0 run, 5-0 run now for Georgia Tech to get within 7.
Dongo doing a good job of carrying this Georgia Tech offense.
Sir Muhammad back in there for Notre Dame. And Shrewsberry. Oh, nice.
He's cooking. Man. And if you're Chaz Kelly, that's a simple switch. And you got to understand, this dude is already on fire. You cannot allow him to come down and get underneath.
Damon Stoudemire just shaking his head disgustedly over there. That's exactly what he was talking about in practice yesterday. He said, this is basketball 101 stuff, fellas.
Especially on a guard-to-guard switch, yeah. You got a guy that knows and wants to shoot the three.
No, he forced it up there off the side of the backboard. Not a good offensive possession there for Georgia Tech. Notre Dame, 10-point lead, 3:05 to go. Shrewsberry has 4 3-pointers in this game and a reach-in foul against Kraft. So, man, oh, man, Certa has 3. Shrewsberry has 4. Auto Parts season series kicking off from Daytona Beach, Florida. Boy, the pictures from there looks pretty doggone nice right about now.
Yeah, that weather is probably sizzling down there. I wouldn't mind just kind of hanging out. I'll go and watch some autos racing there, Tom.
Absolutely. Talking about it raining for the Great American Race perhaps tomorrow, but it looks good today for our race. And Certa got bumped. And that will go against David Remagen, who's just checked in.
And here's what you have to recognize. If you got your big out on the island, you got to get over sooner. Because, again, you know that there are 2 dudes for Notre Dame that are actually rolling right now. That's Certa and Shrewsberry. And so if I'm looking at the defense and my big is out on an island, I've got to make sure that I'm ready to help and I don't leave him out there.
That is one smooth stroke for Certa. Last year, this guy averaged 2 points a game. And now, he's become one of the top scorers, not only for Notre Dame, but in the conference over the last 3 weeks.
But there's nothing like empowerment. When you get a guy like that normally does not get the ball in his hands, and then you talked about the fact not having Marcus Burgess. You need someone to step up, and he's shown. And give me the rock, I can produce, and then that's going to allow coaches to give you a little bit more flexibility and freedom.
Reeves for a 3, and then you knew that when it left his hand.
But here's the thing, a little in and out action. You were able to get the ball inside. Dongo realized that someone comes over to help. You get it out to Kowacie Reeves. Now for Georgia Tech, you got to get stops as well as that 3 ball has been going. And you see your boy, he's like, I got a flamethrower. I got a flamethrower. Keep giving it to me. Georgia Tech's got to do a better job in how they are allowing Notre Dame to get those wide open threes.
My goodness, Certa with 18. He has hit 4 threes. Shrewsberry has hit 4 threes. And Notre Dame has hit 10 threes. Trying to answer. Okay. Oh, boy, here we go now.
And you sit back, and Kowacie Reeves shot Certa a quick little look. He's like, you think you got threes in your back pocket? So do I.
All right, team starting to warm up a little bit now. Georgia Tech went most of this half without a single 3. Now all of a sudden has 3 in its last 4 attempts. Shrewsberry off the mark and knocked out of bounds by Tech.
And again, you see Cole Certa on that little handoff. And again, a little late to the party. He's like, let me get that up. And then you see Kowacie Reeves is like, you know what? Put your hand up if you want to. I understand. I got a 3 ball in my pocket as well.
Certa again.
That's my goodness. That's a heat check. Boy, what? You say you better come out here if you're not familiar with my game. Step up.
5 threes for Certa. He has 21. We said in the opening minute that Certa was capable of putting up 30-plus in a game. He's done it against Virginia already this year, and he's well on his way today.
He said, allow me to reintroduce myself. If you didn't know, now you know. And again, that pin down action, we talked about the fact that with Tout, he set such a good screen that if you're the defender, you're going to have to hedge. If you're Dongo, you have to understand, you can't allow Certa to be able to get that one up.
All of a sudden now they're putting Mustaf pretty much blanketing him, but now the switch. Imes going to go to the basket. Thought about it. Good defense by Mustaf. Shot clock down to 7. Shrewsberry lays it off for Tout. Great pass to Imes and rejected at the basket. 12-point lead for Notre Dame. Nearly a takeaway. Shot clock at 21. Game clock at 23. Reeves again. And now Notre Dame will hold for a final shot. 15 ticks until halftime.
So here's the thing. I put the ball in either Cole Certa's hand for a pick-and-roll action, or what I do is I try to give him a pin down. This ball has got to go in Certa's hands.
Sir Muhammad to the basket, muscles his way in. Not there, and that's the way the half will come to an end. But the story of this one, the Fighting Irish in 11 weeks of pure raw racing power begins today for Eastern, 1 Pacific, only on the CW.
If you're Georgia Tech, you got to come out immediately and try to establish something inside. We talked about the fact that Dongo was able to get rolling. You got to be able to get a bucket, and then you got to open up with a stop.
Well, they got a switch, so Ndongo backing his way in, and Kaler able to strip it from behind, punch it out of there. And another turnover for Georgia Tech. That's an offensive foul by Tout.
Man, good defense by Reeves. And if you're Tout, you don't need to. You got a smaller guy. Just take the ball and go. Let's just play by Tout. Reeves, and then he decides to just try to bully him over. It's one of the things about bigs. That last time, even with Dongo, you had Kaler on you. Just go. The more you sit back and you wait, you don't worry about the double team. You force them to double and you go immediately.
Dongo 25 feet away from the basket, and they tried the give and go there off the pick and roll, and it's another turnover for Georgia Tech.
Active hands by Notre Dame. Good save by Kaler.
11 turnovers for the Ramblin' Wrecks, including their first 2 possessions of this second half. Shrewsberry thought about it, didn't pull the trigger. Shot clock at 5. He'll go to the rack and had it stripped out of there by Chatfield, who just rips it away. And at the other end, to lay in the first bucket for Akai Fleming, and he averages 10 a game.
And nice play by Chatfield on the drive by Shrewsberry. And then again, you get one to Fleming wide open. If that's Georgia Tech, what you want to do is continue to try to deny those first and second options to Shrewsberry and Certa.
Here is Certa, dribbled it off his foot. Well, they're going to call a reach-in foul, I guess, there on Fleming.
But if I'm Damon Stoudemire, I'm okay with that, because what you want your guys to do is you want them to get up and play hard, aggressive defense. When you do that, you make it a little more difficult for Certa and for Shrewsberry. And we talk about those are the guys that have really been killing them on Notre Dame end.
Shot clock at 7. Shrewsberry defended by Ndongo. And a little fade away into paint, and he gets it to go. He's got 16.
Yeah, Shrewsberry did a good job. Realized he had Dongo on and was able to touch the paint. Gave him a little bit of a chicken wing to get some separation. That pull-up.
First basket of this second half for Notre Dame. Nearly 2:15 is passed here in the second half. If you weren't with us earlier, the top scorer for the Fighting Irish, Jalen Harrelson, the freshman from the state of Indiana, injured his ankle in practice yesterday and is in street clothes today. So you're thinking Notre Dame could be in trouble. Well, at halftime, they were on pace for 90. Reeves in and out.
Good defensive possession for Notre Dame. Georgia Tech has not been able to find anything as far as some type of consistency offensively.
Ball to belong to the Fighting Irish.
You see that last time, Dongo doing a better job of stepping out on Shrewsberry. And what they're trying to do is make sure that they hedge and double. So far in this second half, Georgia Tech doing a better job in getting out on the shooters. The other thing is that you have to be able to get your offense clicking. By Imes that last time. One of the things you do against an aggressive defender is that you try to blow by and watch this play by Imes. He gets there, Washington a little late, gets up and calls for the goaltend.
Imes had a nice game. His first start since mid-January, and that's where Ndongo's got to take it to the basket.
He's got to. I mean, no one was there. You have to finish that up. Georgia Tech is trying to find a way to get you the rock. And those are those turnovers that really infuriate coaches. You're trying to get back in this game. Still plenty of time. If you're Dongo, you got to get that ball and just go right to the bucket.
Full court pressure to get it in the hands. We were talking about Logan Imes getting a start today. He averages 3 points per game. He has 7. So they were going to need scoring from somewhere, and they've gotten a pile of it from Certa and Shrewsberry, but chipping in here and there, this guy right here, and he'll add to it.
Imes has done a good job understanding that Georgia Tech is locking up Shrewsberry and also Certa. You get that big in Dongo, realizing that if I can get him to open his hips, get downhill with my right hand. You've seen 2 big drives by Imes.
Now a 16-point lead, dribbling into traffic is Washington. And there'll be a foul against Notre Dame. It's going to go against Imes.
If you're Georgia Tech, you got to be disciplined to keep running your sets. You have not been able to get downhill with this defense from Notre Dame. They're doing a good job of closing off those gaps in the pockets. This is the guy that they really need to get going. Had 7 points in the first half.
Pull-up jumper, too strong, and tapped back by Tout. Here comes Notre Dame the other way. And Tout to the basket. Beautifully done with a left hand.
Tout realized he had Dongo anticipating come up with a handoff. Big fella's like, give me an opportunity that I can get rolling.
At 4 Eastern today.
Georgia Tech has done a good job of not allowing Notre Dame to get any threes, but then they've had the blow-bys. And Notre Dame has been able to extend this lead to 18. If you're Georgia Tech, you got to find some offense. They have struggled in this second half, and then yet another turnover.
Imes, good head fake, cutting Taylor, offensive foul. Notre Dame ran out of a 2 there. And we have another, this time, media timeout.
Is the fact that you look in the second half, 4 turnovers out of 7 possessions. They've had 1 field goal made, and they've got to find a way to get some buckets. Because, again, you're not going to get any. See a nice move by Kowacie Reeves. And I think that with this lineup, smaller lineup, you got to find a way to generate some type of stops. They've done a better job of not being able to allow Notre Dame to get those threes up, but you got to clamp down and create something with your defense.
Reeves has 16, his first bucket here in the second half. But now needing defensive stops, and that'll be a hold on a mismatch. Mustaf trying to stay with the taller Tout.
Well, here's the thing is that Georgia Tech coaches over there whistling and asking for that to be a shooting foul because they understand that Carson Tout is not a great free throw shooter.
Well, it's interesting talking with Coach Shrewsberry before the game. You know, Tout is just 17 of 47 from the free throw line this year. So, you know, look, in close games, and Notre Dame's had a pile of close games. Teams recently have tended to foul tout, put him on the line, take their chances. And the dilemma for Shrewsberry is he's their best rebounder.
Right. Well, I think that it's just a matter of playing the numbers because, again, you keep him on a defensive possession, especially in the gut of the games. And then basically offensively you look to sub him out, but then you see him already out and then bring again Sandra.
Certa, big first half, and that's his first attempt of the second half. It's off the mark. And Reeves got bumped, no call.
But that was a missed call. It looked like he was able to, he got bumped there.
Sure did by Sir Muhammad. Then Muhammad falls down, but able to get it to his teammate Sandra, who's checked in. Will fade away, and he got it to go for Garrett Sandra.
And that's what you're going to have with a small lineup for Georgia Tech. Someone like Sandra's got a good skill set. You get him the ball down there and realize that he can get the shot off as he wants. You see Fleming on the penetration. And we've talked about the fact that with the small lineup for Georgia Tech, you get the ball in to Sandra. Watch Sandra here realizing that I've got a smaller guy in me in Mustaf. And all I got to do is get to a place and then rise up and shoot.
Tomorrow, CW women's basketball back. Virginia heads out west to take on Stanford. That's tomorrow at 2 Eastern, 11 Pacific, only on the CW. Fleming got them both. His first two trips to the free throw line. He has 4 in the game, all 4 in this half.
You see Georgia Tech extending their pressure. Again, trying to find some way to turn over Notre Dame. But Notre Dame's done a good job as far as handling the ball. They've got a lot of guys out there on the perimeter. Muhammad, Imes, Certa, and also Shrewsberry. All of them are very good ball handlers.
Sir Muhammad into the lane, and he had made the decision he was going up no matter what. He's able to run down the loose ball. And now Imes to the rack.
Oh, nice.
Oh, man, what a shot that was.
And you see him flex for the pitch over at Notre Dame. He was like, hey, look, he can't guard me. Great move, and then be able to counter the finishing at the cup.
He has 6 here in the second half, Designs, who got the start today, and 11 points in the game. That's a big lift. Mustaf, little fadeaway short.
And you notice that Notre Dame understands that Georgia Tech doesn't have great three-point shooting out here, and so they're packing the paint. Yellow Jackets are not allowed to be able to get to the basket. You see the blow-by Certa, and then the goaltend by Kowacie Reeves.
First bucket of the second half for Certa, who had 21 in the first half.
Watch this blow-by. You got to honor the fact he's a three-point shooter, and then late on the recovery, Kowacie Reeves comes in. That ball is blocked late. How about Cole Certa, the afternoon that he's having? We talked about him in the first half with the 21 points.
Largest lead of the game now for the Fighting Irish, 59-39. I think if somebody would have said, knowing that Harrelson was going to be out for this game, and Notre Dame would have a 20-point lead, make it 18 on the nice drive. Good second half so far here by Akai Fleming.
But back to your point, though, you and I realized that not having Harrelson meant that you had to have other guys step up. And one of the things for Notre Dame is that the three-point shot was something as big as you see Certa let one go. Good challenge by Dungo. I don't think that anyone anticipated for them to come out and knock down 11 threes in the first half.
Yep.
When this is a team that on average only makes about 8.5. You shoot it about 35%, but they were able to get what they wanted. Georgia Tech on the other end has not been able to crack the paint as much as they probably wanted. You watch Notre Dame. See how many guys they actually have sitting there in the paint, and then they're closing the gaps on all dribble drives.
Tell you, this guy's decided he's going to start making things happen. That's a freshman from Atlanta, Akai Fleming.
Well, and here's the thing is that he understands is that they need points. They've done a better job in how they're guarding the ball from Notre Dame, but then you have to be able to manufacture some points.
Reach-in foul by Washington. Fleming has 8 points here in the second half.
You see again, still plenty of time, but the way Notre Dame has been running, I like the fact that how they're running their offense. You see Imes gets a breather in Sandra, bringing in Kaler and also Tout. Still a very small lineup for Georgia Tech. You see Dungo back in the game.
There's going to be a foul on Fleming. That'll be his second foul. And the 5th for Georgia Tech for the second half. Closing in on the 12-minute mark. Talked about how both these teams really needing wins over their last handful plus of games in conference play to qualify for the Atlantic Coast Conference Tournament. 15 of the 18 teams will make it. Right now, both of these teams would be on the outside looking in. Muhammad. And the rebound comes away to Washington, pushing ahead. Here's Fleming again. He's had a big second half. Nice play by Certa. Get a hand on that. And with 11:40 left to go, Notre Dame 59, Georgia Tech 43. This is against SMU. Syracuse needs to keep winning.
Absolutely. And when you see how these teams, we talked the fact that you've got 6 games going, and there's opportunity for a lot of teams to gain ground and also to lose ground. You know, in this one right now, for the most part, Notre Dame's done a great job of how they've been able to defend Georgia Tech. And you see, or maybe Tout, or actually, it looks like it's going to be Kaler.
That's Kaler. That's 4.
That's 4. And again, you see that 16-point lead. You're still talking about a little over 11 minutes. The one thing that's not working in Georgia Tech's favor is that they have not been able to get some consistent three-point shooting. But they've done a better job in how they've defended and limited Notre Dame in their threes.
All right, so Georgia Tech trailing by 16 with 11:30 to go from South Bend, Indiana. And another foul. And this one's going to be the 16th foul. This is against Muhammad. And that's his 3rd.
Well, and here's the thing, is Georgia Tech is able to be a little bit more aggressive in trying to get to the paint. If they stack up those fouls and you get into the bonus, free throw shooting is a thing that's going to be really critical for them. You see Mustaf go to the basket now.
Could be a 2-shot foul for Mustaf. When you get the free ones, you can't miss it. He's a 65% shooter.
Can't leave crumbs on the table. You have to get everything that you can get.
This guy, since ACC play has started, has gotten better and better. You know, last year, he got a little bit of playing time. Decent amount of playing time, in fact. But now a regular. And is playing his best basketball of his young career right now. That's really good defense by Fleming. Really good.
Probably one of their better defensive possessions. You saw they were able to chase Notre Dame off of their first and second options. You saw them flying around, that penetration, active hands. If you're Damon Stoudemire, this is what you want. Now what you do is you've got a good stop. You got to be able to get a bucket on the other end.
Stoudemire's been very frustrated today. It's been a frustrating year. I found it just so rare, let's put it that way. As here's a 3-ball, and not there, and Dongo had the rebound, lost the handle. Ives comes up with it, and Notre Dame headed the other way. You know, our meeting yesterday, he came walking right over to you as here's Ives for a 3.
He's had it raining. Hey, he's had an afternoon. We talked about Shrewsberry and Certa, but I think when you look at Ives and what he's been able to do, I mean, he has really come in and he has had a great afternoon. Already 14 points. And again, great penetration. Finish, but watch his penetration. Ives realized, you know what, sometimes guys get into a good rhythm to step back there, knocks down that 3. He's had an efficient 6 of 11, 2 for 3, 5 boards, 2 assists.
His 3rd game this season in double figures. He had 13 against Clemson. That is his season high. And now today, he's gone by that with 14.
And we talked in the open, and one of the keys is that for Notre Dame, have multiple guys step up. And I think Ives has been one of those guys along with Shrewsberry and also Certa. He's had a great afternoon so far.
Well, that's been the trio. Washington in the lane, left-hand fadeaway. And Ives another rebound for Notre Dame.
If you're Georgia Tech, you cannot continue. And great pass. Big fella running in the finish. Talking about a dive.
Yeah, he got the rebound at one end and just beat everybody down the field.
And that's want to. That's want to. And we talked about Tout and what he does. May not always show up on the score card, but he has had a great afternoon as well.
Another long rebound on a missed three. Certa. Little bumping with Chatfield. And tipped by Georgia Tech out of bounds.
Watch Tout in his screen right there. Big fella understands, trying to get some run. You know, those big dudes, they get tired of just rebounding and also setting screens. He said, hey, give me an opportunity to see me rolling. Carlson Tout, man, you talked about it. A mature guy, somebody that comes in that gives you the little dirty work that you need. And he has done a lot. They give the big fella another opportunity. Good defense by Washington.
Tout looking for the foul. Felt he was hit on the arm. We're under 10 minutes to go. Washington, the southpaw for three.
And Georgia Tech just could not get it going. I mean, again, when you look at their afternoon, 3 for 17. This is a team that normally shoots it at about 36%, but they don't have a lot of makes.
Good ball movement. That was off the mark when it left his hands. You can see it standing right in front of us, and that's off Georgia Tech, Notre Dame basketball.
You see Fleming and Kowacie Reeves down there trying to fight Tout for that rebound. That's a grown man. That's a grown man and a big dude that you're trying to keep off the boards.
What a play, design play.
What a play. Basically, you get that little wraparound. You get Certa wide open. Tech fell asleep. That's one of the things you have to hedge on that.
Washington nearly losing the handle.
Pay attention how Notre Dame has been able to keep Georgia Tech on the perimeter. There's a little penetration right there, trying to play through contact. That's one of the things that's plagued them. Those guards get down there, not able to finish.
And then Imes the other way, kicks it out to Muhammad. And Tout, the big offense. Here we go again with Imes. Rare miss. Look at Tout on the board. Certa for three. Tout trying to get another one.
It's only fitting that big fellas, he pounds his chest. Sits there and smiles. Again, we talked about the fact that with this lineup, no shot blocking and big rebounding. And you see Tout with a big fella saying, let you hear it.
You know, we were talking about 1-2, right? I mean, 1-2. And the crowd going crazy for this guy. That last exchange is all about 1-2. It's his 149th college game, his 146th college start. And we told you, closing in on 1,400 career points. He has over 1,300 career rebounds. Transferred after 5 years at Northern Arizona University, where he missed 2 seasons with injuries. And now his first at Notre Dame.
Effort like that gets to be contagious with a team that when your back is against the wall. And we talked about it in the opening, the fact that between Georgia Tech and also Notre Dame, that they've had guys in and out of the lineup with injuries, and unfairly, you have been put in a position where you need guys to step up. And so with not having Harrelson in the lineup, Tout has been one of those guys, again, that's given them a lot of effort this afternoon.
Boy, on the glass, Notre Dame here in the second half, led by Tout. A 16-3 advantage on the glass.
Well, and a lot of that is that when you give Dongo a breather, Georgia Tech has not been able to have anybody else, and they've had to go with that small lineup and nothing but guards.
Shrewsberry dribbled it off a split out of bounds. Rare turnover for the Irish today. We talked about Georgia Tech has 13 of them. That's 7 for Notre Dame.
Yeah, and you've seen that the most of the part, they've been able to get what they want. And for Georgia Tech, they've had their struggles of how they've been able to not probe that paint. And again, Notre Dame did a good job of being able to help in those gaps and force Georgia Tech into difficult shots.
And a three-pointer. He's been the man in the second half, and that's Fleming.
And Fleming has come out. I mean, Georgia Tech, we talked about the fact that in the second half, they've had some struggles offensively. But Akai Fleming, he has been one of those bright spots, especially in the second half.
Well, he has 11 points in the second half. He did not score in the first 20 minutes. Closing in on 7 minutes to go in South Bend. Certa at 21 and a half. If you're just joining us, Notre Dame hit 11 three-pointers in the first 20 minutes. Certa and Shrewsberry combining for 35 points. In fact, those two guys outscored Georgia Tech as a team.
And here's the thing is that Georgia Tech did a better job of limiting Notre Dame. They've only made 1 3. But what Notre Dame has done is you see Certa knock down that first 2. Is that they have not settled to try to force threes. We talked about the fact that Imes has done a better job of getting downhill. You know, and Certa is one of those dudes. He's like a 3-level type of scorer. Not only a 3-point shooter, he can put the ball on the floor and get all the way to the bucket. As you see Chatfield throw one into the stands. Miscommunication between he and Fleming. If you're Georgia Tech, that's how your afternoon has been. And Damon Stoudemire talked about they cannot afford to turn over the ball the way they have.
Shrewsberry wide open for 3. And a rare miss. You know, look, you talk to people who cover. You live in Atlanta. A lot of people have not been happy the way this season has gone for Georgia Tech. The same thing holds true for those that follow Notre Dame. Yeah, but, you know, look, when you have the number of injuries, and I get why people talk about it being a disappointing season. I get it. You get it. We're all fans, you know. But the bottom line is, let's start with Shrewsberry. I mean, when Burton goes down early in the year, and, man, now you're scrambling.
Yep.
And for Damon Stoudemire, we talked about he's not had his full roster for any game this entire season. I mean, they've lost guys for months at a time. So too is Notre Dame outside of just Burton. So it's tough to get it going.
I'm going to give you an aha moment because when you look at both programs, the seasons that the Notre Dame football team had, that comes right into basketball. The season that Georgia Tech football had coming into basketball. You got a lot of fans that are excited about the way the programs have been. You got a lot of alumni and supporters that come into basketball and they say, hey, there are expectations for both programs.
Yep.
As much as you may want to understand it, you don't really want to hear it because, again, it's almost like, well, hey, we were coming in for both programs and you expected them to be further up in the standings. And the fact that you're dealing with a lot of injuries, you don't expect the results that you get.
Yep. Muhammad bounced pass to Imes. He tried to bounce it. Look at that. Getting on the floor. Kicked out of bounds. Last touch by Georgia Tech.
And you know, a lot of coaches behind the scenes, you get in the locker room, they have certain, like, you know, hustle awards that they get. You know, if Notre Dame continues to play along this pace and they win this game, I'm sure Michael Shrewsberry is going to probably give an MVP award in that locker room to Carson Towns. I mean, obviously, you've had guys do great shot making. You see, try to get that ball in, and Dongo's going to be whistled for that foul. But when you're fighting for your playoff life, so to speak, you want guys to give that type of effort because when you're showing the tape of when we go to the next game, you point to the effort of Carson Towns. You don't sit back and say, well, hey, we made this, we made that. It's the effort that you want to be contagious.
Okay, we talked about this young man, his issues at the free throw line. He misses the first one, so that means he's 17 of 48 for the year. And Dongo.
Hey, good rebound. Good rebound and positioning by Dongo in the putback.
That's his first field goal of the second half. Had those 2 free throws a moment ago. 6 minutes to play. And a timeout for Notre Dame.
And you see right there, Michael Shrewsberry said.
So a nice break after all the snow in this part of the country.
I'm a Chicago kid. Upper 50s is like 75.
You're right about that. I walk my dogs whether it's 9 or 90. And there have been some cold walks here lately.
I've seen a lot of the kids out jogging around in T-shirts. And you see Certa picking up where he left out. And then the hustle play almost getting that deflection.
We said Certa before the game might have to deliver another 30-point effort.
And
little did we know he has 30.
Look how far behind it, and he does not hesitate. Told you that he's got that kind of range where you'll see him pull up with the logo. I mean, right now, you look at his afternoon, 30 points, 6 for 10. I mean, he's closing in on that career high. He had 34 in that loss against Virginia a few weeks ago.
Certa going behind the back. Defending by Kelly, and the shot clock down to 15 for Notre Dame.
He's going to let this go. Look, he got a little swag. You can tell he's feeling it, too.
Oh, he's wide open.
Oh, good defense.
Yeah, it was by Reeves, able to get a hand on that pass. They were looking for Certa. And then Fleming has been the man in the second half, and he'll go to the line. That'll be Sundra 4 on him.
Well, if I am Damon Stoudemire, and I'm trying to pick out some positives from this game tape, is that Akai Fleming, in the second half, he has definitely come in and grabbed that rope a little tight, because he has been the guy that when Georgia Tech was struggling offensively to find somebody, has come out and has really been impressive in the second half.
I mean, it's not like he's not capable now. You know, last year, it's a young man playing at Atlanta overtime, and he injured his knee 10 games into the season. So, you know, he was thought to be one of the great players in the state of Georgia, and missed all that time. But since coming back, and especially in this second half today, he has been dynamite.
Yeah, I got a chance to see him play. He played at Osborne High School, not far from where my old stomping grounds is. And this is a guy that, again, he's going to be a really good player.
Yeah, he is.
Because of his ability to put the ball on the floor. He's athletic. And he plays, he's aggressive trying to get downhill.
And I bet you he goes 200 pounds by this time next year. About 180 right now, but he's got that frame where you can tell he can put on a lot more muscle. He's only 18 years old. Uh-oh.
Bam! But I tell you, and one of the things Georgia Tech was, they had Sundra over there, or maybe it was Kayla, they were trapping, and then Certa just kind of hangs out already, 33 points.
Career high 7 3-pointers in this game for Cole Certa. One of the great three-point shooters in the country. And there's a three and a long rebound. Notre Dame in front by 23 with 4:23 left. Here's Certa, career high.
Bam! Hey, this dude, man, again, when you're playing for a coach like Michael Shrewsberry that understands that you got some guys down, he was like, you know what? You can't guard me. 35 points.
Career high for
certified ball.
You're unbelievable. Unbelievable. Hey, by the way, the all-time Notre Dame record for most points by a player in an ACC game belongs to Marcus Burke. You may remember he had 43 against Cal last year. And there's a three by Chatfield.
You see Georgia Tech extending their pressure.
Timeout by Imes, trapped in the corner. So Certa is sitting on 35. You're watching CW.
To focus just on one guy. And then in the second half, you had Imes come out, and he got going when Georgia Tech was doing a good job on defending both of them. When you've got three dudes out there, it's pretty hard. You got to pick your poison. You see Georgia Tech doing a good job, and then a 5-second call.
Yeah, Muhammad looked like had a couple of chances to get that ball in bounds and waited too long, so Georgia Tech will get it underneath its own basket. Under 4 minutes to go. Well, he hit one a minute ago. Figures he'll try it again. And what a game it's been. You know, with all the talk about Certa and Shrewsberry early on, you pointed out Imes has had an outstanding game.
Imes
turn it over there.
Yeah, it looked like he's grabbing at his hamstring right there. He may need a timeout or need a substitution. Watch him. He's over there grabbing at that left leg.
Shrewsberry got bumped, got trapped, got slapped, no call. And they get it out to Certa 2-on-1, and he'll just pull it out. Well, let's see if Certa's going to the rack. He is. Got bumped, and he'll go to the free throw line to shoot a 1-and-1.
I told you, that dude's got a little swag to his game, Tom. You can tell the way he moves. And it's not about a matter of just trying to stack up points. You can tell when he's going after it. He knows that he can go give you a bucket. You see substitution for Logan Imes right now.
Certa now with 36. If you're just joining us, a career best. He is 5 of 5 from the line.
Well, I mean, depending on with him up 20 right now, 21. Interested to see how long Micah Shrewsberry keeps him in. Because if he does, he's got every shot at the 40 ball.
Oh, yeah. Sitting on 37 now. And a three-pointer in the corner again by Kelly.
Yeah, nice shot by Kelly. Ball was able to swing over, give him a wide open look in the corner.
A lot of bumping going on back there. Chatfield and Shrewsberry. And Braeden will go to the line to shoot a pair. He had 14 points to Shrewsberry in the first half. Only 2 here in the second. They 3. They haven't needed him to score.
Well, Georgia Tech did a better job of trying to lock up the three-point shooters and Shrewsberry and also Certa. But then Shrewsberry has not been able to really get going and have the opportunities. You see him go to the line for 2.
Next week, you and I will see this Georgia Tech team talk about how tough their schedule is over the back half of the conference season. We will see them a week from today at Louisville. Boy, Louisville looks like with Michael Brown Jr. back now, look out.
Did you get a chance to see that night that he had 45?
Yeah.
I mean, this kid, I mean, even when we did his first game back against Virginia Tech, talk about a dude that can go get it. I mean, I know NBA scouts are really high on him and his ability to, just as a playmaker, and he makes everyone else around better, and he gets it. He really has an amazing skill set.
You know, 2 days after you and I were there, they played on a Saturday. It was his first game back. They had to go to Duke less than 48 hours later, and they got kicked around by Duke. Louisville had a bad game, but make no mistake about it, as that one is saved. Nice play by Chatfield to get that ball, and Mustaf rattles in a 3. But Louisville, as games are now starting to build, that's a team to keep an eye on come the ACC and NCAA tournament.
Well, and that's the thing, is that when you look at them and how they play, they've got shot makers, they've got guys they've got bigs that can play and guard the rim, that can get outside. That's one of those teams that when you see them in a neutral site, that's a team that I think they really can really give you some trouble, because point guard play is going to be important. You've got role players. They play really good defense. They're an up-tempo type of team as well. Interesting to see, like you say, when the ACC tournament comes around, but also when you get into the NCAA tournament, this is a team that can have a shot at going to the Final Four.
Well, you know, last year was very disappointing after the bounce-back year they had under Pat Kelsey's first season, and he got beat in the first round of the tournament. I think everybody was surprised by that, as Kelly's hit his third three-pointer in this second half.
You see Georgia Tech continue to make buckets and then extend this pressure. They want to try to lengthen this game. You see Michael Shrewsberry over there talking to his guys about passing and not accepting the double team. But how about this league, too? I mean, the way when you look at the teams that right now that could obviously get an NCAA bid, when you get past the Dukes, the Carolinas, the Miamis, the Louisvilles, there are teams out there right now, depending on how things go. You see Kayla missed the front end of that, or excuse me, Sandra. I think that the ACC's got a good chance of getting maybe 6, possibly 7 teams.
Well, I think maybe more than that.
If you had to decide today.
I mean, most of the projections that I've seen recently had 8 to 9. You know, you got teams like, well, NC State, among others that are sort of, you know, hanging around in that gray area. SMU, although I don't think there's any doubt about it. Both of those teams are tournament teams. SMU's got a nice team.
They do. They get up and down. I mean, they got shot makers, and, you know, again, that's another team. And let's admit it, that to win in this league and even in the tournament, you got to have good point guard play, and you got to have a dude that when you need it can go get you a bucket.
And SMU has multiple guys that can go get you a bucket. And a great point guard in Boopie Miller.
You see the penetration by Braeden Shrewsberry. Was able to sell and get 2 defenders up. Draws that contact.
You know, the biggest news in the ACC this week, though, by far, was, last weekend North Carolina beat Duke in that thriller, and then Caleb Wilson the other night breaks his hand, and he's going to miss some time. That's a huge hit.
That's huge for them because Hubert Davis and his team, they have been in a position where, you have a huge win at home in that rivalry against Duke, and he is a guy averaging 20 points a game. Then you turn around and you see Chatfield knock down another 3. You go on the road and lose to Miami. Interested to see how long is he going to be out, because again, as you get to this midpoint of February, March is right around the corner. Interesting to see how long are they anticipating him being out. Good pass by Certa.
Foul on a knee. Sundra will go to the free throw line. We are at 1:11 left. So Notre Dame already without their big star, of course, Marcus Burton, going all the way back to December. They had an injury to the guy who's been their leading scorer since then, Jalen Harrelson, in practice yesterday. There you see him on the bench. Boy, what a good-looking freshman he is. But at any rate, I think if you're just somebody looking at, okay, what might happen here today, you might have thought, Notre Dame could be in a little trouble.
Yep.
They have been very, very good in all aspects. They've taken care of the ball. They've hit threes. They've rebounded.
And they were able to execute their game plan with Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech came out early. They were able to get the ball inside. Notre Dame limited them, and they were able to stop the gaps. Right now, you see Georgia Tech actually launching the threes and getting them up. But again, one of the things that really helped them is that you were able to limit Georgia Tech on one end, and you got that 3 ball going really early. I think that was one of the separators for them, is that you get 11 threes in that first half. That's definitely going to be one of those things that's going to allow you to be able to set yourself up for success.
So this will be Notre Dame's 3rd win inside the Atlantic Coast Conference. And we told you going into play today, the Irish 2 games back from trying to be able to qualify for the ACC tournament. So too is Georgia Tech. Just got it off before the shot clock, and that'll be a violation. I want to say thanks for Brian Oliver looking so dapper today. To Johnny O, the official apparel partner of CW Courtside. Everywhere we go, I get compliments about these Johnny O polos.
As do I.
They're nice. I've had coaches come up to me and say, I'll make you a deal. You get me one of those babies, and I'll get you something dialed in with my school. All names I'm leaving out of that, of course.
I don't blame you.
Yeah. Down to the final 20 seconds, and shot clock turned off. What an effort today. Look, people have been critical of both of these teams in their seasons. And, for Micah Shrewsberry today, as he shakes hands and a big hug with Damon Stoudemire, Shrewsberry has to feel very good. I think he might be saying to him, hey, look, I know what you're going through. I'm in the same boat.
Look, what a beautiful